The dishwasher was open when she came home. Not cracked. Wide open, like someone had been interrupted mid-loading and just never came back. It beeped every 40 seconds. I didn't close it. She dropped her keys in the bowl by the door like she always did, then froze when she saw me sitting at the table, facing away from her. "Oh," she said, laughter still in her voice. "Didn't expect you to be up." I didn't answer, just stared at the ring on the table. Not hers. Mine. She blinked. Laughed again, this time forced. "What's this, babe? Are we fighting? What is this?" There was lipstick on her neck. Not hers. She sat down across from me. In that floral dress she only wore when she wanted attention. The kind you don't wear just for friends and cocktails. Her mascara was smudged like she'd been laughing so hard she cried. Or crying so hard she laughed. I finally looked at her. She looked away. "You're scaring me, Elliot." Good. That was the point. I slid a photo across the table. Not printed. Just a phone, screen up, paused on a still frame from the hallway cam. 2:03 a.m. last night. She didn't touch it. Didn't need to. You could see her clearly, barefoot, giggling, holding her heels in one hand. A man behind her. Too close. His hand on her lower back. That dress. That moment. That smile she hadn't given me in a long time. She swallowed hard. Her voice cracked. "You put cameras in the house?" I laughed once, a dry, humorless bark. "No. I just forgot to unplug the one you helped me install when your cousin's place got broken into." Her face turned the color of old paper. The dishwasher beeped again. She opened her mouth, but I raised a finger. Then I stood up, and I told her exactly what I took while she was gone. Not money. Not clothes. Not even the photo albums. Something worse. She didn't speak for a full 30 seconds. The silence stretched like plastic wrap over a wound, see-through, suffocating. Then she tried to smile, like she could charm her way through this. She always thought she was the clever one. And maybe she was. "Look, I don't know what this is about," she said, nudging the phone back across the table with the tip of her finger like it might burn her. But nothing happened. It was harmless, Elliot. He's just a friend from. No. That one word stopped her cold. I'd never cut her off before. She knew that. I wasn't built for confrontation. I was the apologizer, the avoider, the one who'd quietly vacuum under her feet while she scrolled Instagram in bed. But tonight wasn't vacuuming night. "I didn't take your stuff," I said finally. "I didn't touch your closet, your jewelry box, your passwords. I didn't drain the joint account. I didn't even go through your phone." She tilted her head, guarded now. "Then what did you take?" I leaned forward, elbows on the wood, eyes locked on hers. "Time." She blinked. "What?" "I took time," I said, voice steady. "Every minute you were gone, I made sure you couldn't have it back. I changed things. Moved them. Logged things. Reset the counters." She looked genuinely confused now, the first honest emotion I'd seen from her all week. "What the hell are you talking about?" So I told her. About the night before she left. When she forgot her scarf in the car and I went out to get it. How her iPad lit up in the passenger seat. Just a notification. A single preview from someone named C. I didn't even open it. I didn't need to. It said, "So you're really doing this? Just one night? Promise?" That's when it all cracked. The rest was preparation. Quiet, methodical. I didn't confront her. I didn't cry. I just started watching. The hallway camera. Her laptop's location history. The hotel she forgot the name of, which just happened to match the one from her email confirmation. The one she forgot to delete from the trash folder. She looked like she wanted to be anywhere else. "You broke into my iPad?" "No. You left it unlocked. Like everything else." She crossed her arms. "Elliot, you're acting insane. You're overreacting to a dumb message from someone I haven't even seen in. He ordered your favorite breakfast to the room at 10:12 a.m. You took a photo of it. You posted it on your story." I zoomed in. His phone was on the table next to the grapefruit. "You tagged the cafe, but forgot to crop the corner. Sloppy." The blood drained from her face. It was like watching ice form behind her eyes. I stood up and walked to the hallway, grabbed the small envelope taped to the inside of the coat closet, handed it to her. She opened it with shaking fingers. Inside, a printed receipt from the hotel's front desk, 2 keycards, 2 breakfasts, 1 late checkout. "Elliot," she said, barely above a whisper now. "This isn't what it looks like." "Then what is it?" She had no answer. And I hadn't even told her the worst part yet. Because while she was out there pretending it was just one night, I had already decided what I'd do the second she walked back into this house. And it had nothing to do with yelling. It had everything to do with what she was about to lose next. She sat there for a long time with the receipt in her lap, her lips parted but no sound coming out, like her brain had too many tabs open and couldn't load a single thought. I watched her breathing change, shallow, uneven, like she was realizing this wasn't a bluff. This wasn't some passive-aggressive guilt trip she could cry through and reset. This was real. "You planned this," she finally said, voice low, accusing. "You waited for me to mess up. You wanted this to happen." I laughed. Not a dramatic villain laugh, just a quiet, broken one, the kind that sounds more like choking than joy. "No, Marley. I didn't want this. I wanted to believe you were who I thought you were. Turns out I was just the last one in the room to get the joke." She shook her head. "You've lost it. You're spiraling over a maybe. You don't have proof of anything that happened in that room." "That's true," I said, standing up slowly. "So let's get some." She flinched as I reached behind the toaster and pulled out the old shoebox she once begged me to throw away. The one she thought held random receipts and business cards. I dropped it in front of her and popped the lid. Her face changed instantly. Inside wasn't paper. It was a phone. Sleek, black, face down. The screen was already cracked when I found it, half buried in the laundry pile the day before she left. At first I thought it was mine. Then I saw the lock screen, a photo of her. Only her. Taken in a hotel mirror I'd never seen before. She wasn't smiling. She wasn't posing. She was biting her lip, eyes half closed. The kind of photo you don't keep on your primary phone. I hadn't opened it. Not yet. That wasn't my style. I didn't want to go digging for pain I wasn't ready to feel. But now, I picked it up and turned it on in front of her. "What is this?" I asked softly. Burner phone? Secret TikTok career? Or just easier to hide hotel reservations when they're not popping up on your main calendar? "It's not what you think," she said, her voice barely audible. "That's the third time you've said that," I replied. "You're running out of script." She reached for the phone. I pulled it back. "No," I said. "If I open this, I want to do it with you sitting right there. No lies. No spinning. If I find what I think I'm going to find, I don't want some half-baked story about a jealous coworker or an emotional moment that got confusing. I want you to sit in the wreckage and own it." She stood up abruptly. Her chair screeched across the floor. "I can't do this," she said, pacing. "I can't breathe. You're twisting everything. You're acting like I'm some kind of criminal. Like you've already made up your mind." "I haven't," I said, lying. Because I had. The moment I found the phone, the moment I saw the hallway camera footage, the moment she walked through the door laughing like nothing happened, I made up my mind. But I wanted her to admit it. I needed her to. Maybe because I thought it would make it easier. Maybe because I thought it would hurt less if the knife came from the front instead of the back. She stopped pacing. Her eyes were red now, but not from tears. From rage. Fear. Exposure. "You want the truth?" she snapped. "Fine. Yes. I spent the night with someone. Yes, I kissed him. Yes, I took that stupid photo. Are you happy now?" I didn't answer. She went on, her voice rising. "It was one night. I needed to feel seen. I needed to feel like me again. You used to look at me like I was the only person in the room. Now all you look at is your damn work emails and your broken projects and your sad little world of figuring things out. I was alone, Elliot, even when you were in the room. Especially then." She didn't cry. She didn't apologize. She just stood there, breathing hard, waiting for me to say something. But I didn't. I just turned the phone around, unlocked it with the fingerprint still registered on her index finger, and opened the gallery. There were 23 photos in the recently deleted folder, and one video she forgot to erase. I didn't speak as I tapped open the recently deleted folder. Marley's breathing changed. She went completely still, except for her hands, which trembled just slightly at her sides, like she was trying to decide whether to run or plead. The photos were bad. Not scandalous in a way that would violate modesty or get flagged somewhere. No, this was a different kind of betrayal. This was intimate. Her, holding a drink in a hotel mirror. Her, in that same floral dress, lying sideways on a couch with her legs draped across someone else's lap. A close-up selfie of her and a man I'd never seen before, his chin touching her shoulder, both of them laughing like teenagers hiding from the world. They weren't explicit. They didn't need to be. The intent was louder than anything graphic. But then there was the video. Just one. No title, Just a timestamp, 2:26 a.m. I didn't even press play. I handed her the phone and stepped back. You do it. Her eyes flickered, darting between the phone and me, weighing her options. But she knew it was over. There was no version of reality where she explained this away as a misunderstanding. There was no lighting, no angle, no caption that could twist this into a joke. She pressed play. It started in a hotel hallway. Her voice, unmistakable, giggling behind the camera as she whispered something like, "Shoo, someone might hear us." A man's hand came into frame. He pulled her toward the door. Her face flipped into the shot as she turned the camera around and smiled. Her lipstick was smudged. Her eyes glazed. Then the door closed, and everything went black. I didn't need to see what came next. She didn't let it run, anyway. She slammed the phone face down onto the table like it was radioactive. "I deleted it," she said. "I deleted it. I wasn't going to keep it." "Why did you film it at all?" No answer. We just stood there. The kind of silence you feel in your teeth. Somewhere outside, a dog barked once and then stopped, like even it didn't want to interrupt. Finally, she sat down. The performance was over. Her voice dropped. "Okay," she said. "I messed up." "No," I replied. "You didn't mess up. You made a choice. Over and over again. Every time you texted him. Every time you lied. Every time you came home and smiled at me like nothing happened." I didn't mean for it to go that far. I looked at her like I was seeing a stranger. "Then why did you bring a second phone?" She flinched again. Not big. Just a half-second lapse in facial control. Enough to confirm what I already knew. This wasn't spontaneous. This wasn't an accident. This was planned. She wasn't just bored. She wasn't just hurt. She was done, and I'd been the last one to find out. "You're not even sorry," I said quietly. "I am," she insisted. "I'm just." "No. You're sorry you got caught." She didn't deny it. I took the phone and set it in the middle of the table. Then I pulled out my own. She raised her eyebrows. "What's that?" I scrolled through my gallery until I found what I needed. A photo. I turned it around and held it up for her. Her face dropped. It was a picture of the hallway cam again, but this time, the timestamp read 7:42 a.m., the morning after her little adventure. She was leaving the house again, purse in hand, sunglasses on. But she wasn't going to work. Not dressed like that. "I followed you that morning," I said. "After you got back. After you pretended everything was normal. I wanted to be wrong. I was hoping I was wrong." "Where did I go?" she whispered. "You tell me." She didn't. So I told her. "You went to the same hotel. Different room. Different floor. Same guy. Less than 10 hours after you came home to me." Her mouth opened, but nothing came out. There's a kind of horror that happens when a person realizes they can't lie their way out anymore. Not because they're cornered, but because there's just too much truth. A flood they can't dam up with excuses anymore. I stood up. "I'm not here to punish you, Marley. I'm not even here to scream. I just wanted you to see what I see. And now that you've seen it." I walked to the door, grabbed my backpack, and opened it just enough for her to see the manila folder inside. Legal documents. Not copies. She covered her mouth. "I'm leaving tonight," I said. "The lease is in my name. You'll have 48 hours to figure out your next move." "Elliot, wait, please." But I was already halfway down the steps. I didn't slam the door. I just let it click shut behind me. And for the first time in months, maybe longer, I could actually breathe. I didn't go far. That probably surprises you. You might have expected me to jump in my truck and drive halfway across the state, or hole up at some buddy's place in a man cave full of old college flags and stale beer. But I didn't have a buddy like that, and I didn't feel like running. Not yet. So I drove 3 blocks down and parked behind the 24-hour laundromat. Killed the engine. Let the heat die out on its own while the cold crept in through the vents. I just sat there, breathing in the silence. The only sound was the faint hum of dryers spinning on the other side of the wall. It was the first time I'd heard real quiet in weeks. That's when it hit me. I wasn't angry anymore. Not in the way I thought I'd be. I didn't want revenge. I didn't want to destroy her reputation or out her to her friends or post some dramatic story on Facebook like she had stabbed me in broad daylight. I just wanted her out of my story. I sat there for hours, watching the condensation build up on the windshield. At one point, I thought about calling my mom. But what was I supposed to say? "Hey, remember how you liked Marley?" Turns out she was just borrowing my life until something better came along. No, not yet. I slept in the car that night. Hoodie for a pillow. Windows cracked just enough to keep from fogging. I didn't dream. Or if I did, I've erased them the same way she tried to erase that video, clumsily, carelessly. At 7:02 a.m., my phone buzzed. One new message. Marley, can we talk before you do something stupid? I stared at the screen. Not sorry. Not please come home. Not I made a mistake. Just that. A warning disguised as concern. I ignored it. By noon, she'd sent 5 more messages. They got more emotional. More desperate. I could see her unraveling in real time, like a dress with one loose thread that kept catching on everything she walked past. Marley, I didn't think you'd actually leave. Marley, this isn't how we end. Marley, can we at least talk? Please? I waited until sunset before I went back. Not to her. Not to the house. To a friend I hadn't seen in years. Jalen. We built sheds together before he moved into general contracting. He lived in a quiet duplex on the edge of town and answered the door with a look like he'd seen a ghost. You look like hell, man. Yeah, I said. You got a spare couch? He didn't ask for details. Just handed me a blanket and a half-eaten pizza and told me the Wi-Fi password. That couch became mine for the week. And in that week, something strange happened. Marley didn't beg. Not in the way you'd expect. She didn't show up crying in the rain. Didn't record teary voice messages. She didn't even call. Instead, she pivoted. I started getting texts from her sister, her boss, even her old college roommate I barely knew. All carefully worded like they were just checking in, but each one ending with some version of Marley's been really quiet lately. You two okay? She was playing chess, trying to paint herself as the wounded party before the pieces were even on the board, before I could even decide how public I wanted this to be. And that's when I knew she wasn't done yet. She was going to spin this. Not to win me back. No, that part was over. She knew it. I knew it. But to protect the version of herself she needed the world to see. And that scared me more than anything else. Because it meant she hadn't just cheated. She'd calculated. And I wasn't sure what else she was capable of. It started with Harper. She was one of Marley's closest friends. The kind you don't lose touch with after college. The kind who still showed up to our backyard barbecues even after she moved 2 hours away. She always struck me as sharp. Not in a mean way. Just someone who noticed more than she let on. I hadn't heard from Harper in months, maybe longer. But 3 days after I left the house, she sent me a message. Harper, hey. Random, but can we talk? Just for like 5 minutes. I stared at the screen for a while. I was sitting on Jalen's couch, sipping reheated gas station coffee and watching dust float through a shaft of window light. Nothing about the moment screamed drama, but I knew, as soon as I saw her name, something had shifted. I called her. She picked up fast. Hey, she said. I know this is weird. I don't want to stir the pot or anything, but I need to tell you something. And you didn't hear it from me. Okay, Marley's been reaching out. To everyone. Making it sound like you cheated on her. I didn't speak. Just stared at the wall while the weight of it landed. She told Michelle you left after she found texts from some coworker. Said you'd been emotionally unavailable for months. Said she tried to fix things, but you pushed her away. I let out a soft, stunned laugh. She's rewriting the script already? Fast, Harper said. And the scary thing? Some people believe her. She's good at this. She's always been good at getting ahead of the fallout. There was a long pause on the line. Then Harper added, more quietly, but I don't. Why not? Because I saw her. With him. The weekend of Kira's engagement party. She didn't know I was there, I guess. But I saw her outside that coffee shop near the lake. They weren't friends. Not from the way she looked at him. I remembered that weekend. Marley said she had to work late, even though it was a Sunday. She came home at 9:40 p.m. with a cold sandwich and a casual lie. I never questioned it. Why would I? She's going to twist this whole thing, I said, more to myself than to Harper. She's going to come out of this clean. Not if people start seeing the cracks, Harper replied. What cracks? Funny you should ask. She hesitated for a second. Then, check your email. I just sent you something. I opened it while we were still on the call. There were screenshots, texts, DMs, time-stamped photos. Harper had quietly been watching, logging things. Not as some schemer or spy, just as someone who'd seen too many of her friends get bulldozed by people who smiled in every selfie and ruined lives behind the scenes. Why are you helping me? I finally asked. Because I don't like liars, she said. And because I've seen too many women like Marley make good men feel like they're insane. You're not crazy, Elliot. You just finally stopped playing her game. We hung up, and I sat with the weight of that for a long time. Marley wasn't just cheating on me. She was burning the ground behind her as she ran, hoping no one would follow the smoke. But she forgot something. I wasn't chasing her anymore. Now I was just making sure no one else got burned. And I had an idea. Not revenge. Not violence. Nothing messy. Something smarter. Something she couldn't twist into a sob story. Because if Marley wanted to play reputation warfare, then she picked the wrong man to underestimate. It started with a Google document. I titled it Clarity. Nothing dramatic. No threats. No timelines. Just a blank page and a quiet keyboard in the corner of Jalen's spare bedroom, under a cheap desk lamp, while he watched sports in the living room. This wasn't for court. This wasn't for social media. It was for everyone else. The people she was trying to get to first. Her coworkers. Our mutual friends. The neighbors who saw us walking our cat on a leash like idiots every Sunday morning and thought we were #couple goals. I started simple. 3 paragraphs. Factual, calm, bloodless. I outlined the timeline, the trip, the texts, the burner phone, the second hotel visit. No adjectives. No name calling. Just receipts. Screenshots. Video timestamps. Side-by-side comparisons of her story versus her location data. Even the Uber receipt she accidentally left in our junk drawer with the drop-off time, stamped 2 hours after she told me she was just grabbing coffee. No rage. Just evidence. The kind of truth you can't argue with unless you're ready to call time itself a liar. Then I sent it. Not as a blast. Not as a post. Just quiet, personal emails. One by one. To the people who mattered. The ones she'd already tried to reach. The ones she hadn't, but would. Harper helped me cross-reference the list. She even offered to forward it herself from her account, to eliminate any chance Marley could accuse me of manipulating things. I declined, but thanked her. I wanted it to come from me. Not bitter, not broken, but resolute. Then I turned my phone off for 24 hours. Not airplane mode. Off. I needed space. Not from her, from the noise that would come next. And it came. When I turned my phone back on the next evening, there were 11 voicemails. 4 from unknown numbers. 1 from her boss. The last one was from her. She sounded different. Gone was the forced cheer. Gone was the faux concerned tone. She sounded smaller. Like a balloon that had been slowly hissing air for days. Elliot, she said, voice dry and hollow. I don't know what you're doing, but it's working. People are looking at me differently. Like they know. Like they've seen it. Pause. I didn't think you'd fight back. Another pause, longer this time. I thought you'd just disappear like you always do. Get quiet. Sulk. Vanish. I thought I'd control the story like I always do. But you're different now. You're not the man I married. She said it like it was a bad thing. And maybe, to her it was. To me, it was the first compliment she'd given me in months. I saved the voicemail. Not because I wanted to listen to it again, but because it was proof that for once, she saw me clearly. I wasn't trying to ruin her. I wasn't leaking anything. I wasn't painting her as a monster. I was just letting the facts sit in the sun and speak for themselves. And people were listening. Michelle, her supposed confidant, texted me. I'm sorry I believed her. I had no idea. Her boss? He didn't say much. Just a one-liner. We appreciate your discretion. Hope you land on your feet. Even Carter, our old neighbor, the one who always waved with both hands like he was signaling a plane, sent me a picture of the now-faded, happy anniversary. Chalk message he'd drawn on our sidewalk 2 months earlier. He captioned it, I'm scrubbing this off. You deserve better. It was like her entire projection had cracked. She had weaponized perception for so long that when someone finally turned the mirror around, it wasn't the truth that broke her. It was people seeing it all at once. But none of that was the most surprising part. No, that came 3 days later, when she showed up in person. She came to Jalen's house at 9:17 a.m. I heard the knock while I was pouring coffee. No pounding, no yelling, just a light, polite tap like she was delivering a forgotten Amazon package. Jalen was at work. I was alone. The part of me that once ached to see her, to hear her voice, to hold her hand, didn't move. I opened the door. She looked different. Not broken. Not wild. Not desperate. Just tired. There were bags under her eyes. Hair pulled back like she hadn't bothered to check a mirror. No mascara. No performance. She wore an old hoodie of mine that I hadn't seen in months. The one with the frayed sleeve and a tiny bleach stain near the cuff. I didn't miss the symbolism. Hey, she said. Hey. We stood there in silence. I wanted to talk, she said, eyes shifting to the floor. Not fix things. Not to beg. Just to say some stuff I should have said before. I stepped aside. Let her in. She sat at the edge of the couch like it might vanish under her if she got too comfortable. I stayed standing. I won't waste your time, she started. I lied to you. I disrespected you. I tried to control how people saw the situation because the truth made me look like someone I didn't want to admit I was. I stayed quiet. I thought you'd just collapse like you always did when I pushed too hard. That you'd disappear quietly and let me wear the crown of the victim. But you didn't. Still, I said nothing. She looked up at me, finally. Really looked. I deserved everything you did. Every word. Every screenshot. Every name that stopped texting me back. It hurt. But not like you think. It hurt because for the first time, I couldn't outrun what I did. You didn't burn me. You just opened the curtains. I sat down across from her. I'm not proud of how I handled any of this, I said. Not the silence. Not the anger. I let it rot inside me too long before I spoke. But I'm not sorry for walking away. You shouldn't be, she replied quickly. You saved yourself. I would have kept taking. We sat in the quiet for a while. No accusations. No bargaining. Just stillness. Then she reached into her pocket and pulled out the ring. My grandmother's ring. Cleaned. Polished. Set in a little velvet box I didn't recognize. I can't wear this anymore, she said. But it deserves better than being lost in a drawer. She set it gently on the table. Then she stood. I'm staying with my sister for now. I'll get my stuff out of the house next week, if that's okay. It's okay. I hope you heal, she said. I already started. She nodded, hesitated, then left. No drama. No door slam. Just the end. And it was the real end. Not the fake, fragile kind that gets rebuilt in secret texts and second chances and desperate what-ifs. This was final. I sat there a long time after she left. Not crying. Not breaking. Just breathing. The house felt lighter. Not emptier, lighter. And that's when I realized. She didn't destroy me. She freed me. Freed me from walking on eggshells. From waiting for affection like a pet hoping for scraps. From wondering if the silence meant peace or if it meant a lie was being born somewhere I couldn't see. For the first time in years, I was mine again. I stood up, made a new pot of coffee, and opened my laptop. Not to write some big dramatic ending, but to look for places to live. Real places. Clean places. Places with open windows and sunlight and no ghosts in the corner. Because this story wasn't about her anymore. It was about what I'd build after. And for the first time, I wasn't afraid of starting over. I was excited.